Hey everybody, John the Other here, obviously. And today I want to talk about shame. Now, if you are a classical liberal, that is a person who believes in most of the basic values that underpin Western society, like the concept of justice, the concept of freedom of conscience, freedom of speech, and so on. Then you have, and if you've expressed a public opinion, then you have almost certainly been subjected to an attack based on the use of shame as a weapon. In the MGTOW community, there's an awful lot of writing in the mainstream, and almost all of that writing uses the weapon, or attempts to use the weapon of shame, to force or to brutalize people away from the viewpoint that they're talking about. Men having value in themselves and recognizing in a great many social conventions and legal conventions in our society dangers and disadvantages to men, that men are increasingly saying, I don't want any part of that, I'm just going to opt out. And of course the commentary focuses almost entirely on trying to shame such men back into a mainstream opinion. And it doesn't really work anymore. There's a reason for that. In fact, before I get into the reason, I want to talk about public speech by academics and intellectuals such as Janice Fiamengo or the rebel-rousing Milo Yiannopoulos. Now, the, quote, protesters, and I'm dignifying them unnecessarily by calling them protesters, who attend these events and try to shut them down and try to shout down speakers or try to physically intimidate guests, are on record, on video recording, in many cases, in a group chanting the word shame, sometimes at members of the audience trying to get into an event, and other times trying to silence a speaker by shouting shame, 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 shame. You know, a whole bunch of angry SJWs shouting the word shame over and over and over. And it doesn't work. And I'll tell you why. The regressive political framework has demonstrated to the public, not just to their direct opponents, people who are in the manosphere or intellectuals or academicians who reject their narrative. They have demonstrated to the wider, undecided public that they are violent, that they are censorious, that they're narrow-minded, that they're bigoted, that they are sexist, and I mean sexist against women, not just against men, that they are the most racist people in our society against both blacks and whites, and they have consequently lost the public confidence that they have any moral authority. Now, the attack of shame, whether it's through an article excoriating and belittling men on a MGTOW path, or whether it's a mob of SJWs actually gathered together and shouting the word shame, 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 shame over and over and over, that attack has traditionally been extremely powerful as a tool of social manipulation and coercion. It's a weapon. It's an attack. And when you are subjected to it, it's very, very distressing, because you feel like you are being excluded from society, or you're becoming outcast. In fact, it might even be more accurate when you see people using shame, or in fact shouting the word shame at another group of people, to realize they're not shouting shame, they're shouting the word outcast. Outcast, 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 outcast. It makes it a little bit more clear what's going on. And the reason shame doesn't work is that you don't feel shamed by the condemnation of somebody who you regard as having no moral standing. And the social justice mob using this weapon, attacking people, whether it's attacking Janice Fiamengo or Milo Yiannopoulos, or attacking you because you have a dissenting opinion, their attack doesn't work anymore, because for it to work, the person who feels the shame of the attack must regard their attacker as a person of moral stature and moral standing. And the regressive left has lost that standing. They have lost the public's perception that they have a moral position to stand on. They are now seen widely as a bunch of angry, narrow-minded, bigoted, and violent bullies. And when you understand that that's who you're dealing with, having them shout the word shame at you has no impact, except maybe to annoy you that they are still being an inconvenience. Now, for guys who still feel shame, if you are still feeling the sting of the shame attack, maybe consider this. For shame to work against you, the people attacking you have to have moral standing. And in the absence of any rational argument, it's a signal to you that they have no argument, and you maybe should not consider that they have any moral standing, and thus their attack on you is rendered toothless. Thanks very much for watching, and as always, have a lovely day.